Good morning. Welcome to my second tutorial. I'm doing a war board. I'm going to be using three pieces that I'm going to be gluing together. Right now I have them stuck together with some toothpicks just to get the alignment right. I'm going to separate them shortly. Take the PVA glue straight, run it between the joints, push them back in and let the toothpicks help keep them together. As well, I'm going to take the back part of this polystyrofoam and lay it across the joint and run some glue over the sides and let that glue down there as well. And with the second one, and what I'm going to do is some little rolling hills going across, and it's going to look quite well once it's flocked and well painted, flocked, and shrubbery. So what I'm going to be using here for the first part of it is, these will be some of my materials for some higher sloping hills where artillery or the anti-machine gun or anti-tank machine guns can be set up. I will be making some craters in here as well, which I'll be using the X-Acto knife for doing that, as well as smoothing down the hills. And I'm going to be using the knife as well. I'll be using the PVA glue that you see there. Once again, once I'm ready for the flocking and painting stages, I have a bottle with two drops of dish soap to about just almost 3/4 full of a bottle of water. And what that does is when you're spraying your roads and preparing your flock, it helps break the water surface and allows the PVA water mix, when you spray it over and lock it in, to better seep in there and get in there evenly. And I've got a bottle of PVA, about half a bottle of this type of white PVA glue, which was a full bottle of water when I first started out. And I've got about a quarter of bottle of hairspray, small little ball of hairspray mixed in there to give it a tougher feel. And it helps lock it down much better when you're doing a war board compared to like a Christmas or Halloween village scene, or just, a war diorama where you're never going to be moving it or not moving it too often and things are just going to be sitting there. This is going to be played with, so it's going to want to be locked down pretty good. So I find hairspray, which I'll probably add even more to now that I'm doing the board, works really well with the PVA glue. I picked that up on a railroad model tutorial, I believe it was. And I picked up the PVA water instead of using liquid cement from the terrain tutor, which he's got some awesome ideas for war boards and techniques and tips. So I suggest you go to his YouTube channel. So what I did so far on the back is I glued the last two back pieces together with the toothpicks in. Then I switched over the back of the top piece, scarred it up with a knife and underneath with a knife, and then smoothed it out. What that does is allow the the glue underneath to bond in between and not just on, gives you a better, tighter bond. I tack that down with some toothpicks and push them down nice and hard on angles to help keep down the styrofoam. And now I'm putting some heavy bottles of, well, any heavy item will work, but I'm using my bottles now. I'm going to let that dry for a 24-hour period. And then I'm going to do the next section right here in the top, where I'm going to do a hill over in this area. What I'm doing here is I'm layering up some styrofoam. I'm going to be pinning it down and gluing it. And once that's dry, I'm going to just make a few little kind of rolling hills. Well, hill, and a little bit more here where I said I'm going to put an arty or a anti-tank destroyer. And I still think I might pop one over in that corner, but I'm not sure yet. We'll see as I go along. So okay, it seems like I've got the areas I want for now done and glued down, tacked down with some toothpicks and weighed down for the bigger areas. and hopefully that'll help joint together instead of using bare glue the board. So it'll be one big old piece. I will end up coming down with my knife, an X-Acto knife, and bringing these down together into one smooth continuous hill. This will be just a little mounted hill, a little mound or so, uprising, some good cover coming around. This will kind of just be rolling in and out, blending into the scenery, some just rolling hills, and this will be the same concept. I'm going to have a road coming through, so I'll cut through here with that road and probably cross-road it closer to the inside on the other side and make that a kind of objective game, get to the crossroad, or put a bridge or some type of thing in there, make that an objective for a game. Alright, so what I'm doing is a little bit of craters here to give it a little more of a war look. So what I did here is I just took my X-Acto knife, as you can see here. I'll kind of do one right here. I just kind of made myself a decent size circle to work with. Doesn't need to be straight or even, just because we are going to be blasting on it. Blast zones are circular but not even. I just went underneath with my knife here and popped some of this off. Just kind of like this. Try to get it a little in, a little harder doing this with a phone in your hand. Let's show some here. I just kind of went down and fanned the sides a bit, try to work down in here. See how you're starting to get a circle indentation coming? I'm not going too deep just because I've got like a 1-inch foam. But as you see, we're getting a pretty good crater. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just come over here with my scrub pad. Try to give it a little more. Make this one a little larger of a blast. Alright, and then I will do some painting and that later, texturing more. See you later, bye. Hi. Basically what I did here is I took a piece like the middle, almost exactly the same. The right hand corner, well, would be my right shoulder, was a corner that I kind of just curved out and made into a rock scene that will end up on the corner piece of the hill, sloping down. The other one is going to be for a train to go through and will become an objective spot. I basically, if you take a look at this one right here, you see how plain it is. What I did is I took my knife, my drywall tool, and my sander, and I went through the whole area. On top I used my drywall knife to get out all the bubbles, and same on the bottom to give it more of a rough look. And then I went in with my knife and I curved out a bunch of grooves to make it more realistic. I went around the back, since this table will be coming, board will be coming off the table, and you'll be able to see around all the different areas. You can see how that one is done, and nicely done. This one here, I did the same concept, trying to get all the bubble look with the drywall knife. This one's going to be viewed from all sides as well. So I just kind of kept on working it with my regular knife, trying to get it more realistic, a little less looking like this. So as you can see, we went from a kind of very basic cutout look to something very much more like a mountain. So I carved down the block I had similar to this one back here now, and I've kind of left it sloping as much as I can. I'm going to go over it later with kind of a proxy of some sort to fill up some of those holes and smooth it down. And I need to carve out in around here a bit more on this side and smooth in here where I'm going to actually make it look like a bridge supporting that going over on each side. And as I come around, you can see I've done a little bit of indentation and trying to smooth it down with my green scrub and make it as smooth as possible. And going over here with the camera is actually good because it shows you areas like this where I need to get better in for when I do my flocking and painting, so it's all smooth like a rolling hill going all the way around. So I'm pretty much got the look that I want here, minus doing a little detailed work in here as well and doing the same thing, painting. And I'm going to make this look like broken rock edge, exposed earth, where the other side of the hill is on the war board. And pretty much on this side here, give you a little bit of a look now, I'm going to start it out as mountainous on this side, or kind of same concept as where the bridge is, exposed earth and rock, and bring this down quite a bit. As you can see, it's probably about an inch to an inch and a half up going down, and it's only going to be a few millimeters. Okay, I want to give just a bit of a scale of what I'm going for. As you see, this is going to be a pathway for a tank to go through. The hill's not too high, just enough for some cover. I'm leaving enough room on the top so you can actually place figurines down. These are 28 millimeters scale. OH I believe it is, or ON, OH I believe. And as you can see coming in over here, as I was just showing, I don't want this really too high. I'm only going to want it going up maybe to their elbow or belt line and midway up the tank, so it's actually quite exposed coming down. I just want to give it a little more hilly feature. I'm actually going to be breaking that up to just, you know, maybe rolling hills. This is where having a styrofoam cutting tool over a knife comes in really handy. You can do a nice wavy up down roll, which would have been also perfect for doing this right here, and would be excellent for doing this piece once I get coming down, so I can make this all one continuous piece, and the one in the back over there. So I'm going to get going and try to finish off the last of the detail on this, and then start on this part and tie it in, and then I can do a few more craters. As you can see, I've got 1, 2, 3 craters. I'd probably like to add a third or fourth and a fifth right here as well. And I'll show you how I do those in another tutorial. Thank you and goodbye.